at NTV.
Morning at NTV, we're live from Kampala's Renner Conference Center. Now, as the 2021 elections are begun, parties are positioning themselves and their candidates to win. The Forum for Democratic Change is one of those, and the party has been postponing its preparations to select a flag bearer. And we will have the party spokesperson, Ibrahim Semujung, to tell us what the real issue is. And we also have Shamim Namfuma, a Kampala woman MP aspirant, who says a victory in the NRM primaries was stolen in favor of a daughter of the NRM bigwig this early morning. Gentleman, lady, welcome to Morning at NTV. I'll start with you, Honorable Semujung. What's happening in the FDC? We keep seeing postponing of the would-be positions you're taking, starting your campaigns, the flag bearer and all that. Is it an intentional move by the party?
First of all, nothing has been postponed.
Okay.
Nothing. We had planned to have joint campaigns for the two aspirants, the Honorable Patrick Amriat and the Honorable Waswabirigwa. We usually do it different. They were supposed to start those joint meetings on Monday.
This week?
But their campaigns are ongoing.
Okay.
If this year is about 1,000 delegates, we are still preparing, of course, logistical problems notwithstanding. We intend to have these elections at sub-regional, at regional level. Because it's going to be expensive, and then you'll be fighting with the police if you attempt to have a delegates conference in one venue. So we took a decision that the elections will take place at sub-regional, at a regional level. So these two candidates are campaigning. The Honorable Patrick Amriat was in Musoga, he was in Wuked. The Honorable Waswabirigwa have been receiving his messages every day asking for your vote. So the campaigns
like
are
he
ongoing.
sends WhatsApp or SMSs as well?
I receive SMS.
Okay.
So the campaigns are ongoing. We intend to have the elections first week of October. But remember that nominations for presidential candidates are in November. I'm not forgotten the date, maybe about 8th, 10th. So we still have roughly about 2 months to nominations. So what we had set out to do as a party is what has not been done. But what the candidates set out to do themselves, they are still doing it.
They're underway.
And October will have a program issued by the Electoral Commission as to how this particular process will be conducted and the dates and venue.
Okay.
So that is going to be announced in due course. So there's nothing that we have postponed.
Wow.
We only said the joint candidate meetings that we had planned as a party are the ones that are delayed. Okay. And the reasons I said at a press conference, part of the reasons is logistical. This is the most difficult election I have ever participated in since I joined politics in 2010. Because of COVID, people who have been contributing money to the FDC locally here are constrained. Yeah. But also others who have been helping us beyond the borders, you can't reach them. True. The airport is closed. So I want to be honest with everybody that this election is going to be very difficult on our part. If the others have money, for us, we are struggling.
We're going to talk about the issue of money there, because even the money that should come to you as parties from the government, I understand, has not been remitted in time.
It hasn't.
That's a conversation we're going to have. And Honorable Namfuma, Shamim, you competed in the NRM primaries. And on the ground, it was a totally different picture. And when it came to elections, things turned around. What do you make of the entire NRM party primaries?
Thank you, Andrew, for inviting me here to share my thoughts with the Ugandans. The NRM party conducted elections, the internal primary elections. And we all saw what happened. A lot of bloodshed, chaos in all the constituencies. And those that they declared that they were the winners were not supposed to be declared, because results were changed in favor of the ones we call the kingmakers. Yes.
So do you believe that NRM doesn't have internal democracy? Does this entire approach show us that what they're preaching is not internally active?
Yeah, because NRM has values, and those values, and among those values, there is democracy. But what happened, people were not given chance to exercise the free and fair elections, because what they voted for is not what they declared. And I didn't see any democracy there.
Where did things change? We need to know, because if every agent, if all your agents were on ground and they were doing what exactly they had to be doing, and they were monitoring this vote, because we left the secretariat at around 2 in the morning before people were announced, and some tallings had to be postponed the next day. Where did this system go wrong, according to you as a participant?
According to me, the registrars, the district registrars, I think they... What I noticed is these district registrars were told to do whatever they can to make sure that they declare a person that didn't win that day.
Okay.
Because there is a certain district registrar that asked for money, actually from me, and I didn't give the money to the committee. So I think that's why they even changed the results and declared someone else.
So a registrar within your party asked for money from you?
That happened in all divisions. That happened in all divisions.
Oh, God. Mr. Samujunganda, what do you make of all this? A party that is in power, that goes to primaries, of course, you wouldn't be concerned because you're in opposition. This is absolutely. But this bloodshed, the chaos that is aligned to the NRM party right now in the primaries.
Political parties under the Political Parties and Organizations Act are national institutions.
True.
That's why we are required under the law even to make declarations to the Electoral Commission. So these are not private or individual institutions, because one of them will be in charge of the affairs of 45 million people. So therefore I am concerned with what goes on in each and every party as a Ugandan. I always sympathize with people who subscribe to the NRM. Why? I remember the NRM was officially formed here where we are at Serena.
Yes.
On the day it was formed, it had a historical members' ridge. It had a veterans' ridge. So one of the founders, if you look at the NRM constitution, is now a commissioner in the Ministry of Jail, was Honorable Martin Wandera. So he asks Mr. Museveni, who was the chairman and will always be the chairman, how can a party we are forming today in 2005 have a historical members' ridge? And
in 2005.
That's when the NRM was formed and registered. But at registration, it had a historical members' league. And then he said, but we are starting it today.
And the Veterans League.
And the Veterans League. So Mr. Museveni told him, young man, these things were formed long ago. That's the day Martin Wandera left the NRM, but his name is still there among the founders. So that's the party. So I sympathize with the people who join something they don't know. NRM is a private entity. It has its owners, historicals. You will never be a historical because you don't have the qualification to be one, but it's a league within your party. And it's not an exclusive one like people with a disability that you can only be when you have disability.
And you subscribe.
That particular club within the NRM has its own people. So therefore, for anyone who joins NRM and then he begins crying for, I sympathize with them. You joined something maybe you did not know. Now you are learning slowly that the party you joined has historical members. And those historical members, the ones you are calling kingmakers, this is their thing. You see, and
but let me draw the line of democracy then, Honorable Samujunganda, because if they have values and principles.
I have told you that the party at registration, it had a ridge formed before. And not one but two, veterans and historical, formed even before the party itself was formed. So therefore, how can you demand that that party must be democratic when it has exclusive clubs within itself? So people who join NRM must not pretend that they want democracy. You went to a party where there is no democracy, and it is statutory within their own constitution that this party will not be democratic because it has some two exclusive regions.
Clubs.
Clubs, historical, you will never be one.
Veterans?
you'll never be one. So they leave you with something else, and then you can go on thinking that you've joined the party. So therefore, I sympathize with those who join, especially those who don't know what the NRM is. But the broader issue about internal party democracy in Uganda, someone must understand how NRM works. 2007, 2017, I think, is when we were beaten in Parliament, and the constitution was changed to allow Mr. Museveni seek for another term. He had a meeting, a retreat of NRM Central Executive Committee in Mbarara, and he said, I have been spending massively, and of course this is taxpayers' money. The idea was that I should eliminate rigging, but he said the NRM people have become very powerful and rich. Even when we went for separate ballot adult suffrage, they rigged the elections. You remember the Honorable Chirunda Chivejinya, when he was Minister of Internal Affairs, he waylaid the vehicles taking ballots to his constituency in Manila. Yes. And the ballot papers stayed at his home until the following day. So Museveni said that he now wants to change. It is now going to be lining up behind the candidate. But look, who changes? One person, because he's the one who funds NRM using taxpayers' money. When he says this mode of election, you can't argue. When he says you will not win, you can't argue. So you can only cry. So these things are predetermined.
When I was at Observer 2006, Museveni went to Tororo to meet NRM people. He met them. They had NRM flag bearers. And then he told Aronda, who was the army commander then, that we have not helped Mayombo's family. So we need to help Okwiru Awoni to win this parliamentary seat. Okwiru Awoni was independent. Oh, yes. He must be helped against NRM. Go and speak to Susan Amero. She's an MP from Teso. Susan Amero was NRM candidate, but Museveni was funding independent. So Madam, if you don't know these things, so I sympathize with you. I sympathize with you. You join.
What is happening in NRM
you join the party.
Can happen in any other political party.
But you see, the difference that is in NRM here, the issue of kingmakers, it is very much more amplified this time more than ever before. Right. That is something we're going to talk about. Well, I understand my colleague Stephen Mbide is currently at the industrial area. Yesterday, we had issues with floods, and the drainage system of this city is very, very appalling. Mbide, if you can hear me, kindly give us what's the update of the traffic in that area, and then we'll be back shortly. Mbide.
Yes, good morning, Andrew Chamagero. It's a bright morning here in the suburbs of the city, and where I'm standing right now is just in front of the roundabout along the access road, and this is the industrial area. But for people who are passing around this street here, the access road, as well as the 8th Street, 7th Street, and 6th Streets here, yesterday in the mid-morning and late afternoons, they were finding a hard time here. And when you look at the front page picture of the Daily Monitor, you would see that here it was already flooding in the suburbs of the city, this side of industrial area, and this is why, at least for now, there are efforts to try to walk around this road here. But for you who is coming from Zambia side using the Murana Road and Mukwano Road and 8th Street coming towards the Jinja Road station here, you have to know that there is at least a less congestion here as you move towards the traffic lights. And you who is coming from the traffic lights, as well as Yusufre Road and Jinja Road connecting towards the industrial area, roads like 6th, 7th and 8th Streets, is clear flow of traffic will not be interrupted for any moment for you there. And let me also show you some of the efforts here that are being done by KCCA to try and see that they at least clear the flooding whenever it rains here. There is a drainage channel here, the Nachivo channel here, is they are trying to at least block the water from accessing the roadside there. At least whenever it rains, water tries to at least hit the roadside, and it was slowly digging up under the road, and the road could easily submerge and get down, and could paralyze the traffic flow here. But at least they are trying to block the water from accessing the road that side, and this is part of the efforts to control flooding whenever it rains. This is what's happening here in industrial area, but away from that, I will be taking you to issues on the ground later on. But for now, let me hand you back to Arnold Chamagero in the studios to give you more interesting conversations. Back to you, Andrew.
Thank you, Stephen Mbidi. That is how the traffic seems to be underway, but it seems to be like we're having a little bit more of cool winds coming in our area. So while you're leaving home, leave at home with a shower, a scarf, something to keep you warm later in the day. With me in studios, I have Honorable Ibrahim Semujunga, and I have the aspiring Member of Parliament for Kampala, that is Shamim Namfuma. Shamim here. Honorable Semujunga has made it much more clear. From his statements, he alludes that this is a private company. And among those historicals is Haji Moses Chigongo. And it was the daughter competing. Why did you go to the NRM and you said, did you grow up subscribing to the NRM? Have you been participating in the party activities where you thought democracy would prevail at the end of the day?
Thank you, Andrew. And NRM has values.
Yes, it
and
does.
programs that I resonate with. Those values are like socio-economic transformation, democracy, patriotism, among others. And programs like Operation Wealth Creation, the Youth Livelihood programs.
Yeah.
And why I joined this party is because it's the only way I think I could lobby for my people.
Okay.
Yes. That's why I joined NRM, because first I resonate with the policies, with the values and the programs that are in NRM.
And the time you spend on the ground and you're interacting with the people, did the people on ground resonate with those ideologies, and the pain points they shared with you, did they resonate with the values the party holds?
In fact, most of them, that's why you see most of them are rioting now. They are demonstrating because they're not contented with the results, with what the registrars declared, because they voted Namfuma Shamim to be their representative or the NRM flag bearer, but then results changed. So the people on the ground are not happy, and you're still seeing so many of them demonstrating.
Petitions are going forward.
Yes.
Have you tried to go before the party and you put your DR forms and you explain yourself and your agents and you try to make a case on this?
Yes, I submitted my petition yesterday.
And you believe in the process that is coming thereafter, after losing through this?
And I'm waiting for their reply.
So what becomes if in case the reply is not positive to your agenda?
That is what I will communicate in the coming days.
Honorable Semujunga, the party appears, the FDC party appears to be limping from where I stand and where the media stands, and I'll tell you why. For the first time, it's going into elections without an enthusiasm candidate, former Kano, Dr. Besigye, the aura he brings. How are you reassuring your candidates who looked for the presidential backing that this is going to work? First of all, I was very happy when we got people interested in it. But then the vibe in the previous elections, by now everyone would be like, this time it's going to be a little much more, tense.
First of all, this particular election that we've been dragged into.
You're using the word dragging.
Yeah, because we have no space to express ourselves.
Okay.
You have seen me arrested, at least now, in the last 1 month, 4 times. For attempting to hold simple meetings to prepare the FDC in my area. So even if you had an NGO participating in an election and that NGO is not allowed on the radio, you're not allowed to hold meetings, so where would the enthusiasm come from? So we are confined at our headquarters. Even at the headquarters you have seen, when we have meetings, you have police running the gate. So this is the sort of election that we are participating in. You saw the NRM. They had rallies, processions, before and even after elections. So the COVID measures that have been imposed, that's why I said this is an election that we've been dragged in, was certainly going to be a different election. Even if you had Colonel Kizza Besigye arrested and detained at his home, where would the enthusiasm come from? Maybe by him appearing on NTV. But I recognize Dr. Kizza Besigye is a completely different brand.
Yeah.
Certainly when you don't have him, his experience, his charisma, those questions you're asking are bound to happen. But the country must move on.
True.
In Kenya, when they had Kenyatta, nobody knew that Daniel Arap Moi will be president for more than 24 hours. Because he looked like someone almost non-existing. But he existed. For 24 years, he was president of Kenya. to become the FDC leader and the presidential flag bearer after Besigye was always going to be a difficult job. But the FDC is an institution, and unlike the NRM where you have historicals, in FDC they don't exist. So Dr. Kizza Besigye decided on his own that I will not be participating in this election, and he gave reasons. As a party, and I announced myself, the party instructed me to do so, that if you want to be a presidential flag bearer in the FDC, please come and pick nomination forms. And we have two competent people who pick nomination forms. The Honorable Amriat has been a member of parliament twice, is the FDC president. The Honorable Ambassador Waswabirigwa is also a leader known. One time he actually lost narrowly the mayorship of Kampala to Nasa Sevagala. He's been an ambassador in Japan. He's the FDC chairman. Both, if they are given the opportunity, they will prove everybody wrong. So the idea that to be a flag bearer in FDC you must be a firebrand or a Besigye, right? It's not possible. The things that Besigye does, nobody in this country will. Even me, I cannot claim. What Besigye has gone through, if it was me, I would have left long ago. It is only Besigye who can do the things that he has done. But Besigye is a human being, and he works with the team, but he has also not gone away. He's still part of this team. Maybe he will be a coach.
Plan B.
So therefore, I don't know why part of the media is dismissive of the FDC party president, is dismissive of the FDC chairman, yet the media was not dismissive of both when they were becoming leaders. So the party must move on. It will move on. I've told people, I went to work at Monitor 1998 when I left the university. Wafula Ogutu was the founding managing director of Monitor. He was the spokesperson of the FDC. Then, when he left, many people didn't give me a chance that maybe I will do half of what Wafula did. I don't think I am doing a bad job.
No, you're not.
And time will come when I also have to leave. And that's life.
You see, in your speech there is some bit of transition from one code to another code, for that kind of thing. Does this mean FDC has changed the approach and the tactics of engagement in this entire wave?
No, you see, the FDC has two approaches. One, we are a political party registered. We participate in elections, because to us, an election under a dictatorial environment like we are in Uganda is in itself just a platform for struggle. It's not an end. There are people who think it is an end. It's not possible to run against the kind of environment that everybody knows, and then you think those elections are going to be simple. Because Dr. Besigye has lost elections, which he has won. You saw Tinyefuza, who was the coordinator of security, he said at least he is sure Besigye won in 2006. We've gone to court, and courts are not courageous enough to say, like they have been in Kenya and Malawi and elsewhere. So these elections, the trouble has not been winning them, but getting declared a winner. The last election, on the day, on polling day, is when Besigye was kidnapped and taken to Moroto. He's a presidential candidate who was not even around when the results were being announced. He was incarcerated in Moroto in a military barracks. So these are the elections that we subject ourselves to. When people begin asking questions, are you prepared? You don't have a good candidate. The good candidate to do what? The good one has won election, and the one who has lost has killed himself. So therefore, it is not just a matter of a good candidate. It's a matter of the environment under which we do politics in Uganda. You're going to be beaten. They are going to raid the Bank of Uganda. She has told you, even when you have won, they will declare a loser. So here, which more questions must I address? If one in NRM is telling you that she won the election and they declared losers, what about those of us who are opposed to NRM?
Okay, Shamim, coming here from Honorable Uganda, does this kill the confidence of you're a youth, you're young, you're vibrant. This experience you've gone through, has it affected the youth you were dealing with? Possibly that was on your task team, on your task force, the campaign team. Has it affected their drive to participate in the politics of this country in one way or the other?
Exactly, because right now I'm like a role model to them.
Yes.
So if the youth participated in the election process and then they declare someone they did not vote for, most of the youth that I've been talking with, The ones that have been calling me are not really happy, and they reached an extent of telling me that if you're not coming as an independent candidate, we are going to support the opposition. And that's what is going to happen, because they lost trust. Yes.
In the party.
In the party.
How best can we rekindle this relationship between the party and the participants, people like you, people who believe in the ideology from the grassroots to the national scale?
The party has to, because I submitted my, like I said, I submitted my petition, and I think they should do a fair hearing.
Okay.
Yes.
So after losing in that mess, you still believe there is a fair hearing
And
in the NRM?
I'm still waiting.
You're still waiting?
Yes, I'm still waiting.
All is not lost.
Yes.
Sam Uganda, what do you make of this? The primaries were a mess, but she still believes in the party values. Does this allude that as a nation we need leadership colleges that could possibly steer the next generation?
James Musimus, one of the founders of the FDC, contested against the Honorable Mamawas for Kinki's West, I think. There were all kinds of irregularities that can be in an election. He went to court, and Amamambawazi's election was nullified. But Musingu's never participated in a by-election. He only wanted to prove that all the issues he had raised were valid, and the court validated them. But he said there was no possibility that the by-election would be different. And he said, I'm not participating. But at least he made the point. It is on record. That Amambawazi rigged the election, beat up people, used the money. But he said, I am not subjecting myself to another torturous exercise. I sympathize with her. Because if they nullify election and you go for a second one, it could even be worse than the first. But don't lose courage. Go on. Maybe you will be making a point to some NRM people and maybe to the country. They will see what they have not seen. But that's what elections have come to be under Museveni. It's war. Every day you are reading stories of who shot who in Toroma. One of the candidates came and demanded that you must be on my line because I gave you money. When they refused, he asked Daniel, do you shoot at them? One old woman, 62-year-old, was buried the other day. 2 people are still in hospital. I have seen one my colleagues, a member of parliament from Palisa, is in jail. Because they also shot people. You saw what happened in Isingiro. So this is NRM at their best. It is shooting, it is use of money, it is violence, it is violation of COVID rules. I don't know. If you are in NRM and you subscribe to it, you must learn how to live in the jungle. Either you hide or... Yeah, because you are in the jungle and then you want the rules of the normal life to apply. They don't in NRM. You are in the jungle, you're going to be eaten by the lion or the elephant or something. That's how NRM is built. Historical members read. Veterans read.
So does that mean any person who is possibly, let me say, a daughter, a son of these people in these two clubs, you can never win?
Do you need any example? She has told you go to Zimbabwe, where Kutesa's daughter is a candidate and Museveni's brother is a candidate. Elections can't take place. Each is guarded by SFC. Each has a lot of money. So elections cannot take place.
Does this explain that we're going to have a lot of independence in the forthcoming election?
In fact, for me, that doesn't worry me. What worries me more as a person is the transition from Museveni. The countries that you see, like Somalia, where they have warlords, they don't fall from heaven. They are just built over time. People who think that the country belongs to them, the whole world they think is under their feet. So they go on building. The day Museveni leaves, because the mistake many people make is to think when you have a very strong man holding a country together, that you must have him forever. His departure will happen, like it happened with Gaddafi, and the country now is run by 3 governments in Libya.
Very painful.
It will happen the way it happened when Siad Barre left. Somalia, I think, is run by more than 10 warlords. So the moment you do not institutionalize, the moment you don't build trust, that everybody must subordinate himself to a process. The day that strong man holding everything together leaves, you are in trouble. She is in a party where they are historicals. And she thinks in that party there will be democracy. It is not possible. It is not built to be. That party has its owners, the shareholders. For you, it is a favor to be in that party. And you must understand, my dear sister, if you don't do, you will lose, you lose your entire political career. Because you think NRM will be democratic. Was never meant to be democratic. It had some leagues formed before the party itself was formed. So therefore, as I said, what worries me is the country.
The transition after.
The transition from the current very strong man who almost owns the country to institutions. Because the moment you don't, you don't transit into institutions, a country run by institutions, you always have problems. The moment there are no trusts in institutions, and that's why all of us must be struggling for, to have a country that is run on the same standards, run by institutions and not by individuals. The moment, I told people I was reading one of those books that come to be famous, Why Nations Fail, and the analysis in that book was that in America people are rich because the leaders they are subordinate to the population. In the neighboring Mexico, people are poor because there the population subordinates itself to the rulers.
Becoming popular. Oh, wow.
So that's what you are. The moment you are in a party and you are not subordinating yourself to the rules, but subordinating yourself to individuals, the outcome is almost given. So I can...
So, Honorable, I bring back my question.
Yes.
What Shamim went through and what all the others went through, like Naomi in Rushenyi and all the others with all this mess, does it call for political or leadership colleges? Like Chiankwan's ideally should be a national leadership college. I went to the ANC in South Africa to study political science, but it's independent. Any other person can possibly go and study that. Do we need those kind of leadership?
The trouble with many of us is to think that people do the things they do either because they are ignorant. In Zimbabwe, the Minister of Finance, I keep forgetting his name, Chombo, he was a graduate of London School of Economics.
Very brilliant.
When Mugabe fell, they raided his house and he had loaded money, dollars, in sacks. That is a London School of Economics graduate, Minister of Finance, and that's how they were running the country. In Uganda, the other day I was comparing, and I'm sorry I didn't want to say because Kutana is my friend. I like him. But I said we've been lambasting LDUs for misusing guns. If you have a graduate of law, one of the most prominent lawyers in Uganda's history, also grabbing a gun to behave like an LDU, do you need a training institute? You have a graduate.
So you believe these are attitudes?
Former deputy legal principal legal advisor to government. Legal principal legal advisor to government is the one picking, grabbing actually a gun. You can see him struggling with his guards to grab a gun. Why then would you blame LDU and why would you take them for a refresher course? You see, until we've dealt with our attitudes, I was in Ghana. J. Rawlings was such a huge figure. Sometimes even loading people into a helicopter and dumping them into the sea, those who are opposed to him. But for Ghana to transform and become a democratic country, they did not go to Chankwa. They had to sit down and say the country must move on. They put 2-term limits in their constitution, 4 years each. And Rawlings was magnanimous. After serving 2 terms, he left. His party lost the election. It keeps changing. We've been appealing to Mr. Museveni. It is possible in Uganda. The moment you change the attitude, no amount of training that now you're taking NRM, does Rukutana need training? These MPs who are ordering people to shoot at civilians, do they need Chankwans? How many times have they gone there? Until the attitudes have changed, until Mr. Museveni and the historicals and the veterans have learned that this country will need to move on after them, that's when we will have peace. And until also we have grown the country and developed it. Many of us who are in politics are also in it because it is a job that will give you some livelihood. And it's a struggle. And that's why it is a matter of life and death. These MPs you see shooting at people, it is not because they want to come to Parliament and pass legislations in their hundreds. You don't even see their participation. Go and look. Ask yourselves these questions. Where you have had violence with an MP and incumbent fighting to come back to parliament, what has he done in the last 5 years that he's done such a wonderful job that the country must have him in parliament? Zero. It's just picking a salary at the end of the month and then counting the, running the clock, and then you look for the next opportunity. So we need to do things at the same time. First, we need to grow the country
and then change that
to provide opportunities to everybody. But also, we need to get the leaders to accept that the country must go on. So the debate that you have engaged us in FDC, where BSG has gone, now you are finished.
It's on this side.
It's the same debate. That you are the one who are causing this stampede. Because the NRM people think that when Museveni leaves, there will be no NRM, there will be no country. So they want him to stay on forever. For us, we have BSG who has gone, and you are saying you are finished because BSG has gone. You are finished. Are you not the ones causing the problem?
We are going to get to that. Shamim, just to engage you on this, about leadership colleges. While you're on ground, I understand as from the grass to the grass leader, you've seen a lot on ground. Do you believe we need leadership institutes here?
Now, I would differ from my big brother.
Yes.
Yes, because if people really did change, they would vote for. If people really need change, they will vote for another person. So we shouldn't always be saying that we need to change leadership from top, that Museveni must go all the time. Let people exercise, like I said, free and fair elections. If they really need to change, they will change.
Free and fair elections, in which the primaries within the party you come from, yours were rigged. And you're saying that they shouldn't be changed from the top. So where do you want the change to come from exactly?
No, I didn't say that it shouldn't change, but I said if people really need to change, they will change. Because
so Mr. Samju's argument is the NRM has stuck Museveni as their best card again and again. And he's worried that the FDC has taken a move. It has said, you know, BSG is not coming this time, and they have taken that move. And the media, he says, that we are now all at FDC, you're not stable, you're not stable. And he looks at the NRM, and he said, are you worried with NRM without Museveni, you as an individual?
I'm not, because that's why you see the youth are now engaging themselves in politics. So I'm not worried, because 15 years to come, we the youth that are engaging ourselves in politics, we will have got the experience, the skills, and I think we can take the party.
But you have tried to get into the entry, you've tried to go into leadership, your votes were rigged, your polls were rigged. Do you still believe in the system?
Well, partly no. But like I said, I'm still waiting to see the reply from the Electoral Commission.
What is coming?
Yes.
Honorable Uganda, going forward in 2021, this is a question we're always going to ask until when the cows come back home. Do you believe an allied alliance, an allied candidate is the best solution to uproot the ruling government? And we say we have allied, like from all levels, we put one candidate as the opposition to the top job.
You see, in Kenya, I think 2007, Daniel Arap Moi won elections by about 38%. The opposition had 62% between themselves. That's why, for the subsequent elections, they all rallied behind Mwai Kibaki, because they had lost an election because there were many. In Uganda, that hasn't happened. I don't know where that argument comes from. We have had multiple candidates in each election. They get 0.1, they get 0.2, and there is always one strong opposition candidate. So therefore, in Uganda, we do not need one candidate to defeat Museveni.
What do you need?
What we need are fair elections. Because you have defeated him, he has rigged the election like he does rig internal elections. So we need conditions that are conducive to hold an election. We don't need one candidate against Museveni. That's not what we have racked. I've told you in Kenya it was a problem, they solved it. In Uganda it isn't. Tinyefuza coming out to tell you that BSG won 2006 election. There were multiple opposition candidates. Even in the last election, Kanu Kizza Besigye officially was given, because he got more than what he was given, but he was given 37% of the total votes. The Honorable Mambabas came a distant third with less than 2%. But always in the media at one time claimed and proclaimed this is the three-horse race. Because that's what he wanted to project.
Distributing others off the grid.
Even today, whether one or two, as long as the conditions are the same, even if you have no candidate against Museveni, and all the opposition boycott election, when the opposition boycotted the referendum 2003 for the turn of multi-party, Museveni hired candidates. Uchegere now is Uganda's ambassador. I met him in Nigeria. So even where there are no elections, he will hire them. All those that participated, claiming their opposition, they all given jobs after the referendum. So the problem in Uganda today, and I hear that argument on radio, on TV, that the opposition must unite. Unite against what?
Unite against the structures, because NRM beats the other parties with structures. If we had a live candidate...
There are no NRM structures.
They are structures,
they are
Mr.
state structures. Now, let me teach you my sister. I was in the Tare Center in Wakiso. I had gone to get declared. The Honorable Rosemary Seninde, woman MP Wakiso, NRM, all her declaration forms were being solicited by DISOs. Her personal assistant, who was a staff of parliament, because Seninde was a commissioner, he was on phone in the Tare Center. Diso Chengera, where are the declaration forms? Are those your structures? In Chira, where I am an MP, NRM meetings are conducted by the RDC. And that happens everywhere. So you don't have NRM structures, you simply have the state. And the fate of all the parties, colonial, post-colonial parties, is what will befall you the day Museveni leaves. Because the moment you build a party around the state, the day you lose the state, you've lost the party. That's why KANU in Kenya, a ruling party for 3 decades, now has 8 MPs. The day Moi left and brought Kenyatta and he lost the election, there are now 8 MPs for KANU, a party that was in power just about 15 years ago. That's what will happen to you the day you leave power.
So
you have the military, you have the police, you have the DISO, the internal security organization. Those are your structures, and that's where they are beating us. I go to all the meeting in Chireka, I am arrested. The DISO is in and the RDC are in St. Peter's in area holding an NRM meeting. So please don't celebrate that you have structures. They are non-existing.
Shamim, Honorable could be having a different approach. Do you believe NRM has structures, and do you believe these are the strongholds you have?
Yes, NRM has organized structures from up to the grassroots level. Okay. Because you have leagues like the Women League, the Youth, the Elderly, the PWD. Those are the structures that form NRM.
Why do you skip the other 2 leagues? The historicals and the veterans as well. Because I think this is where the problem comes from the 2 leagues, the 2 clubs. And do you believe these structures possibly are the ones that have kept NRM in power for all this long? You as someone who subscribes to their ideology.
I think, yeah, because when we look at the structures on the village level, that's where you see that there is a lot of engagement of the people in the voting, because there is no way the president could come to the village without the LCs, the youth chairpersons, the women.
That's all mobilization.
Yes, that's all mobilization. So I think, yeah, it has played a great role.
Honorable Samiju, the structures
she needs to do research to find out where did the UPC structures go when nobody left.
but like we said, what is happening in NRM, like we said, is can happen in any other political party. That's why I wanted to ask my brother, my big brother, that can he tell me why in 2017 Honorable Kassiano Wadri dropped the FDC ticket and came as an independent candidate? Yes.
So you believe there was internal intrigue that
Yes,
could possibly
and
have
the
pushed him
grievances-
off?
See,
Yes.
that's a simple answer. In FDC, the moment you go through the party process and you become a candidate, if you lose either through court or through any other methods, your parliamentary seat, you will be a candidate until after 5 years. In Arua municipality, we had an FDC candidate who had lost to Abiriga. So when Abiriga died, we did not need to go for another party primary.
You already
and
had
you see,
someone.
unlike other parties, in FDC you don't have to be strong to get justice. We knew that the Honorable Kassiano was a stronger candidate, but the process had produced another person. Because we had just gone through a by-election in Rukunjiri, where my sister Ingrid Twinai wanted to be a candidate, but we told her you cannot be. Muzanira, who is the MP, was our candidate in the general election.
So that is the FDC process.
And you will never beat it. In NRM, you can figure out. I don't know how my sister Tuperu became a candidate in Arua, but for us, it is standard. We even had argument. The Honorable Kassiano wanted to be an FDC candidate, but we told him, you sat here in NEC,
We agree.
and you told Ingrid that you cannot be a candidate in Rukunjiri.
The
How
same
then
applies to
can
you.
you turn around and say you want to be a candidate in Arua? We are building an institution. We are not building cults and individuals. So if the rules favor you, it does not matter. We'll go with the candidate who is weak but has gone through a process. If you go on grabbing strong candidates, you are creating warlords even within a party, and that's why you have lost the
primaries.
unfairly to a daughter of a historical. That does not exist. Let me tell you, in FDC today, Dr. Kiza Besigye's position is a secretary for mobilization in Rukunjiri district.
That is his position.
That is his position in the party. I sit in all the FDC organs. Besigye sits in one. So I am his boss in the FDC. He's the founding president of the party. We don't have historicals. We don't have big people. So the question you asked, just to go back to it.
The ones pulling out of the
The
party.
Honorable Kassiano did not leave the FDC to become an independent.
Because what I know
He did not leave because the FDC treated him unfairly. The FDC subordinated his interest to the party.
Shamim, what have you heard from the ground about that incident of Kassiano?
No, like I was saying, because what I know is Honorable Kassiano is one of those people that helped in the formation of FDC. So
He's a founder, yes.
Actually, he's a founder. That's why I was asking him, why did he drop the FDC?
There are no
historicals
in FDC.
Because there are no historicals in FDC.
Yeah.
Do you think this is the approach NRM should adopt, one way or the other?
Yeah.
That generations could grow and the country moves on, the party moves on, regardless of what is happening?
Yes, and they should look into the value system. Yes.
Okay, as you're wrapping this up, give me a few hints you'd like the NRM to change after you've participated in all these primaries and all that.
NRM should look into the value system. And we should also look into the value system as human beings, and because I know we can reform.
As NRM?
Yes, we can, because a lot happened. Like I said, it can happen in any other political party, but if we look into our value system as human beings, and as not only in the party but everywhere, I think we can do better.
We can get a change.
Yes, and
let's
that's
talk
why to
about
do the
election
right thing.
financing. How heavy was this on you with regards to financing? Because you're working at a tight budget, very strained and constrained. COVID is in play, restrictions are running. How expensive were your consultations on ground and all?
So expensive, because I put in a lot of resources, the time, the effort. I can't give you the budget, but it was a bit expensive. Yes.
Honorable Samdi, now this brings us to the political financing. Where we are today. First of all, let's talk about the money you should be getting from government. You didn't receive in the last quarter, and we are already going into another quarter. Oh, you're already into it.
See, under the Political Parties and Organizations Act, political parties, at least the ones that are represented in Parliament, I said at the beginning of this program, these are national institutions. It happens in Tanzania and in many other places. They get some funding to run the secretariats and offices, and that money is statutory. We passed it in Parliament. At the end of the financial year, which ended in June 2019-2020, the money that was passed for political parties in that financial year, the Electoral Commission never released all of it.
You did give a reason?
We keep asking them no reason. We passed another budget, 2020-2021. That budget is running. We will finish the first quarter. The money for political parties in the budget is not being released. Maybe it is deliberate, because the NRM does not depend on that money. Just Mr. Museveni alone, he has a budget of 600 billion shillings. That's the one at his residence, including 280 billion shillings for donation. The 800 million shillings that the FDC gets to run the secretariat and budgeted for, we are not being given. Maybe he doesn't even remember that they did not get the 8 billion because they don't need it. That money, they have money that is statutory available to themselves, but also money they appropriate illegally through other transactions of the state. And that's why in NRM elections, one MP told me this was a big procurement. You saw even online, they are distributing money, buying people. I saw that in Isinjiro. I saw that the other day in Honorable Bahati's constituency. As people were queuing to line, money was being distributed. And this is the NRM democracy. Violence, money. So the political parties are funded to meet the basic requirements, because we are supposed to build these political parties as national institutions. So the moment you deny them money that has been passed by Parliament, I think you want them to ground to a halt. Maybe that's the intention of Mr. Museveni and the NRM. Because money that has been passed by Parliament, why don't you release it? I don't know, maybe you need to ask the Electoral Commission. The money for last financial year, all of it was not released. This financial year started, we have an election under very difficult conditions. You are asking me that we keep postponing. Of course, you do not postpone, but the meetings that we are supposed to have, you require finances to move people to meet the basic requirement of holding a meeting. We are struggling, and as if this we don't want to pretend. People who have been helping us, some of them, their businesses are not running. So we are in a very difficult position to run the activities of the party. So the individuals are struggling by themselves, struggling against very rich candidates who have access to state resources. Because even on polling day, they still had money in sacks distributing. And these are the elections that we are subjecting ourselves to.
Honorable, what picture does this paint for 2021 elections that are coming in a few months? And all this money in place, the violence, the guns, it's worrying from the media side, because what we are showing the nation, it's very appalling at times, it's very painful. But what picture, from your perspective, what does this paint? As
I said earlier, in FDC, we treat elections as just another platform. And that's why you don't see us resting after elections. We go on struggling. We think we will be able to change things when all of us collectively take on this government. Like you saw people in Sudan doing, and in other places. Even in DRC, Kabila never wanted to go. But the country overwhelmed him. When you tell that to the same Jews who are seeking election, who are seeking office, they will say you are a bad man. And that's why in some quarters, Besigye is a very bad man. Because he has said, and consistently, that these elections may not deliver you. You need something in addition.
Yes.
So the moment citizens don't express themselves, don't show that we are tired of this environment, elections will be a ceremony. Even us in areas where it is very difficult to rig elections. I remember 2011, I was with Honorable Segona in the Tare Center. I had won at more than 80% of the polling station, and Segona had won at more than 90%. But they were refusing to declare us. We had to threaten physical fights within the Tare Center. We go and sleep there, waiting to be declared, with the people outside waiting. So even when you win,
You have to fight for the win.
You have to continue fighting to be declared. The first election we had here of Lukwago, the population forced it to be abandoned because Segona was here at Bat Valley. They were bringing boxes full of ballots, causing chaos at polling station, to replace the genuine boxes at a polling station with ones that they had ticked. These are the elections that we subject ourselves to. So when we lose unfairly, I don't want anyone to blame me. You are disorganized, you don't have this. Please blame the environment under which we do politics. And I can assure you, there is nothing personal. The Uganda is not an estate of our parents. You and I and her will pay the price. People were paying the price in Somalia for the misdeeds of Siad Barre. We were not born when Siad Barre was a leader. So until the media, until the civil society, until everybody commits to stop Chiruba from changing the constitution in Zambia, was collective work of the church and citizens. To stop Bakiri Muruzi in Malawi from clinging on power was a collective work of the citizens with the church. To reform Uganda, it is not a sole responsibility of FDC and the opposition. All of us must participate. That's what happened in Ghana, the media, the academia. So that is lacking in Uganda. You struggle as people are clapping at you. We pray for you. Please continue. As if it is personal.
Citizen inclusion needs to be.
Everybody must participate to ensure that the conditions under which our processes are done are conducive. She will be here celebrating her victory. She's now here mourning. and I don't think that she will get justice the way I know her processes. So that's what must worry us as a country. That you go in an election, the first thing, you create an outfit. You come to Chile, you will see them. Because I know I'm going for battle. So every day we have drills preparing people for the elections. Because I'm not going to be like her, that they are going to announce results that are fake. You announce them, there will be a price to pay.
Honorable says I'm here mourning. But like I said, I'm not just going to let my victory end.
Go away,
Yes.
So are you going to come as an independent and
I'm going to communicate that, like I said.
Because we're here with Honorable Nsereko on Saturday, and Honorable Nsereko made it much more clear. He said, everyone who feels cheated within the party primaries or the party internal democracy, when they come out, they are bitter. They just want to prove a point that, look, this is me here. So are we going to see you as an independent?
I'm going to communicate that.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Honorable Samu Jonganda. Thank you so much, Shamim Namfuma. Those who have been online, I want to just look at a couple of tweets here that have been following the conversation. J. Raymond Star from, you're watching from Namibia. Kudos to Honorable Samu Jonganda. Even us, we're fighting online, then he makes a fist there. Katantazi Abdul Salam says, Shamim Namfuma, we are with you. Ne wenyweze sibangwabo. And this one says, I have allowed, well, all the feedback you've given us, we want to commend you so much. You're in a political season, but it's rather imperative, you as citizens, to make sure that you have your national ID. Citizen inclusion in voting is key. However, we stand against any violence acts and we condemn them in the strongest terms possible. If you're ever going to be in an election, please be be civil. Play your part and stay and you wait for the declaration. Let's not cause the mayhem that is there. I'm Andrew Chamagro. We're taking a break and we'll be back shortly. This is Morning at NTV.